Are all the giants dead? Have all the witches fled?
Giants, witches, all are dead. My child, thou art quite safe in bed. Bye, oh my baby. Bye, oh my baby. Bye, oh my baby. Bye, oh baby, bye-bye. Bye, oh baby, bye-bye.
My mother used to sing this lullaby to us, her children, while she patted our back or stroked our hair to soothe us to sleep at night. Naturally, I passed this tradition on to my son, singing the same song that brought me comfort. Bye, oh my baby. You know, Mom, I don't want to hurt your feelings or anything, but I am not a lullaby kind of kid. Really? Why is that? Not enough action. Sweat is pouring down my face, and I have one eye on the clock and the other on the too warm cake before me. I smear frosting on it anyway, in honor of a little boy's 5th birthday. His father and I have been dating for about 4 months. I have stopped over, and this party has caught both me and the cake by surprise. Being a certain type of male, the father has just announced that he's invited a few adults and a few children over to celebrate, but he's done nothing in the way of preparations. Oh, we'll just heat up a few hot dogs. Being a certain type of female, I am wondering what a few means to him. And I have gone into instant overdrive to assure that the guests who I have never met will have a more generous offering than bread and butter pickles. And let's face it, I'm probably then hoping they will have a more generous view of me. I tear through the cupboards and realize, hey, I could make lasagna. I just need a few more ingredients. I need tomato sauce, lasagna noodles, and vegetables. Well, almost everything one needs to make lasagna. So I make out a list, give it to the father, who heads off to the grocery store with a promise to be back soon because the guests are to arrive within the hour. I finish frosting the still too warm cake and watch it slide to one side. The doorbell rings. The father's not back, and I am feeling anxious. The godmother, the boy's godmother, is the first to arrive, and I get her settled and give her, I don't remember what, some Kool-Aid and a Rubik's Cube. And where is the father? Oh, I can't finish the lasagna until the rest of the ingredients arrive, and good heavens, the store is not that far away. Up to this point in my relationship with the father, a good deal of time has been spent with the soon-to-be 5-year-old. Playing with him, reading stories to his class, answering his questions about God and angels, because his mother had died and he had questions, and passing on some of what my mother had taught me when I was growing up. Things that had less to do with the undefinable and more to do with things like common courtesy, such as softening one's inclination of saying, I don't like this or I hate this, to I don't care for it. He might scrunch up his face at some unpopular dish, and then I, like my mother, and he would say, I don't like this. And then I, like my mother, would say, I don't care for it. And he would repeat, I don't care for it. And we both agreed it would soften the blow for the person who had prepared the meal to hear the rejection in such a lovely way. Ding! The birthday lasagna comes out of the oven, which, like the cake, has had no time to cool. I cut it into squares, splash it onto little paper plates, and dot them with little plastic forks, and then, utilizing my ex-waitress prowess, line them up on my arms and head out to the hungry little ones, who have now been ushered to the picnic table by the boy's older sister. I am just about to set one plate down when a little boy pipes up, like lasagna. I don't like lasagna either, yells another ingrate. And soon, in frightening Lord of the Flies fashion, no one likes lasagna. I stand there, dripping with sweat. My hair is falling over my face in threads. The heat from the lasagna squares is bleeding through the paper plates onto various parts of my arm. The other adults can see us through the picture window. Suddenly I feel like I'm 5 years old too. I try to hold back my hurt feelings. Well, that's not a very nice thing to say to someone who has worked hard to make something. I know, the birthday boy says brightly. I don't care for it. A few days later, after the birthday debacle, when I was still in recovery, a friend of mine, who is not a mother, by the way, said, Beth, you don't serve lasagna to 5-year-olds? You just heat up a few hot dogs. In Anton Chekhov's famous play, The Three Sisters, there is this character called Natasha who is forever going on about her relationship with her child, Bobik. Bobik woke up this morning and he looked at me and he smiled. You know what that means. He knew me. I see you, Bobik. I see you. Nobody laughed. Children know. Oh, I see you. Oh, I see you. He looks at me in the most extraordinary way. Oh, you think I'm just saying this because I'm his mother, but no, no. This is a simply extraordinary child. Well, we all know someone like this. And some of those someones, of course, are us. I fell in love with a family when I was 42 years old. Father, daughter, boy, dog. The children were from different marriages, and the daughter went back and forth between her mom and the father. The boy, of course, lived with the father. I always knew that I could mother someone else's children. I just didn't think it would ever happen. I really didn't know the boy's mother, birth mother, that well, who I will call First Mom. I met her after she introduced herself to me after a show I was in about 25 years ago. She was a fan, she said, which was flattering and sweet. She was also a loud fan. You always knew when First Mom was in the audience because her laugh was distinctive. It was unfettered and very loud. We would see each other on occasion. We would bump into each other on the street or after a show, and we would, you know, chat. But she loved theater. She loved makeup, costumes, theatricality, and she was always undertaking some new project. She was hosting a cable TV show. She was taking tap lessons. She was talking about her angels. It's God-driven, she would often say. I knew that she had a lot of heart, and I knew that she was volatile. I was often taken aback by her bold and brassy manner. Whether she was talking about her rampant alcoholism in her family of origin or some intimate garment creeping up her backside, she just didn't give a damn what anyone thought. Oh, honey, she would say, life is just too goddamn short. I came from more of a ladies don't school. I can admire the breezy and bombastic nature in others. I just can't teeter too far in that direction myself. My mother and me won't let me. Well, one day I ran into her and she had a little boy in a stroller. She had had her baby late at 43, and now she wanted to focus on a career. I was thinking motherhood was beyond me. "Oh, honey," she said, "it sounds like you would like to have my life, and I would like to have yours." The father went back and forth between what seemed to me like hiding while I played with the boy. In reality, he was trying to get projects done. He'd been juggling work and child rearing as a single parent, and he was harried, grieving, overwhelmed. I felt comfortable just hanging out. When bedtime rolled around, he picked the boy up to take him upstairs to bed. The boy lay his head on his father's shoulder and then looked at me and then looked at his father. "Are you gonna have a sleepover?" "I don't think so, honey." Bedtime takes a while. It involves a story or two. Are you okay with that? How Old Mr. Toad Learned to Sing. Mr. Toad came from a very old and honorable family, one of the oldest. In fact, the Toad family was one of the first to make its way out of water onto dry land. So when Mother Nature saw Mr. Toad hopping around on the land for the very first time, she was surprised. "What are you doing here?" she said. "Aren't you content with the water where you were born?" "Yes, ma'am, but I thought there must be something worth learning on the land. And besides, I wanted to be of some use in the great world." Well, his answer pleased Mother Nature. She had just placed all kinds of green plants on the land, and she soon found out that bugs of many kinds like to eat the green young shoots. If you'd like to be of some use, you can tend to some of those bugs. Well, Mr. Toad went right to work. And Mother Nature, well, she went off on some other business. After about 2 weeks, she returned. And when she did, what did she see? Where there had once been a bare spot eaten by all of those naughty bugs, it was now lush and green, and right in the middle of it was old Mr. Toad. He was snapping up bugs as fast as he could. "Have you been here the whole time I was gone?" "Yes, ma'am." "But I thought you wanted to travel and learn things." "I did, but there were so many bugs. I didn't have time to travel, and I wanted to be of some use. Besides, I've learned a great deal just staying right here. I saved what I could." Mr. Toad, if you could have anything in the world, what would it be? "A beautiful voice, so that I could express my happiness in the best way I know, by singing." Well, you shall have it. For part of the year, you will return to your home in the water, and there you will sing to your heart's content. But not all of the time, lest you forget your work, which is the true source of happiness. And so it's been that way with the Toad family ever since. Every spring, the Toad family returns to the water where they sing. And when it's time to go back to work, well, Mr. Toad, he never grumbles, but he's become one of the most faithful workers in Mother Nature's garden. By the time the father returned from telling stories, I had fallen asleep on the couch with my arm around the family dog, my new best friend. I felt a blanket placed over me at some point, but I didn't stir. In the morning, I was awakened by a little boy jumping on me. I would like to take the dog around the lake for a walk. Is that okay? Don't go without me! The boy pulled on an oversized twins cap, a giant Godzilla backpack over dinosaur pajamas, and then hurriedly tried to get his sandals on. Do these go with the right feet? Are you going to go down to the lake in your pajamas, Bud? The father asked. Yeah. Well, I suppose that's okay. So the boy and I headed down to the lake, his little hand in my right one and a dog leash in the left. Do you have a mama? No, honey, I don't. My mama died. So did mine. Well, I knew that, you know, because I knew your mama. Yeah, I knew that you knew my mama. 3 blocks into our walk, he plunks his backpack down in the middle of the walk path and takes out 2 big dinosaurs and hands one to me. These guys don't like each other. The dog gives up and plunks down at the side of the walk path with one of those audible dog yawns. Well, the authentic walkers are just going to have to maneuver around us. We are playing dinosaur. Over the next few weeks, the boy and I play jail, monster, pirate, and tag. We read stories and we play hide and seek. Let's hide from Daddy. Daddy, try and find us! Quick! Let's hide under Daddy's sheets. Quick! Daddy, try and find us! We hear footsteps ascending the stairs and we try and stay quiet. The father finds us with one loud whoop of discovery and we all laugh. The boy jumps on me. You can be my new mommy! The father and I stop laughing. Me with embarrassment, him with concern. I was trying to be very careful with how I interacted with the boy because I knew I was dealing with a child's heart and the father and I were still getting to know each other. But something felt right. I brought a casserole type offering for dinner one evening. And the boy said, "What's that?" "Oh, Bethy brought something over for dinner," Father said. "Oh, Daddy candy." After a few months, the father and I started having sleepovers. The boy stumbled into our bedroom at night. "Can I get in with you?" I sleepily opened the covers and he crawled in and snuggled up against my back. In the morning, when I awoke, the entire back side of my nightgown was full of urine. Soaked. And the boy was still blissfully asleep. And sandwiched between father and son, a position that became increasingly familiar as our relationship grew, I alerted the father to my condition. "Well," I whispered, "this is a dating first." I went to pick up the boy from preschool. I stood at the doorway and looked at all the little kids and some adults too, seated together on a circular ABC rug. When the boy saw me, his eyes lit up and he patted the spot next to him on the rug. So I sat next to him. He held on to my arm. "Are you my mom when you come to my school?" Well, would you like that? Yes, I would, because I don't have a mom. Well, I don't have a little boy, so that works out pretty well. We are on the paddle boat at his aunt and uncle's lake home. The boy stops. I was on this boat. That's before you were alive. Entering the bank, I have the boy in my left arm and I push on the door with the right. As we pass through the corridor, he says, I made a wish. Did you? Yep, but it's a secret. After the monetary exchange and the free safety sucker from the teller, on our way out, we pass a woman who's entering the bank. And the boy shifts in my arms and says, I don't even have a mom. And the woman looks at him. But if my wish comes true, I will. We continue out the door and I give him a kiss on the cheek. Try again, he says. My heart has a gate around it, and the kiss slips under it to my heart. The father let my relationship with the boy unfold without interfering. When were we created? When did we first walk on earth? Well, billions of years ago, we lived in the ocean. Some people don't believe this, but I do. And eventually, we came out of the water to land, and through evolution, that's a big word, we eventually walked and became who we are today. He said, I don't remember being a fish. Questions about death and dying were frequent, and I was asked light, fluffy questions like, when someone dies, what happens when the house is still alive? Dr. Zeus is dead, isn't he? But his stories aren't. Do you know Santa and God? Well, I've never met either one of them personally, but I hear that they're both very nice. Why? Well, I was thinking that you could ask Santa if he would ask God if he would bring my mother back. The father, the boy, and I went back and forth between our two houses, sometimes staying here, sometimes staying there. I was reluctant to leave my home. I had finally settled in, and I was centered and content. My family had helped with my 1929 fixer-upper after the man I bought it with applied for and accepted a job in another state, mid-construction. I was focusing on myself. I certainly had not been looking for a relationship. So one evening, I was at my house, alone, and the phone rang. When I answered, there was a little voice on the other end, crying. What are you doing over there? I need you over here. The father and I had a talk. I rented my house and moved across town into their house with them. I became part of a family. Father, daughter, boy, dog, and me. When I told the boy some years later how difficult that decision had been for me, and that one of my biggest dreams had been to have my own house, he was incredulous. Without us? We are driving. Oh, I miss my mom. Why? And then, realizing he might have offended me, he said, I mean, I've never heard you say that before. Do you think it's easier to lose your mom when you're little I told him that I didn't think it was a matter of being more or less difficult, that either was undesirable. To lose your mom at a young age like you did is a profound loss. I had more years with my mom, but either way, it's difficult.
I think it's easier to lose your mom when you're little, because then you wouldn't be so shy with your replacement mom.
The boy brought a friend home with him from school. Honey, I said, would you like to show Taylor around a bit? Sure, he said, and he blithely launched into a recitation as he passed from room to room. This is the living room, this is the library, this is the kitchen, this is my replacement mom. Later that night, before bedtime, when we often had our heart-to-hearts, I said, honey, when I hear replacement mom, it feels a little bit disrespectful to both me and your birth mom, because I don't think she can ever be replaced. And I'm not just standing in for her. Do you understand what I mean? I was upstairs the first time he called me mom. He stood at the foot of the stairs and yelled up, "Mom, what's for dinner?" And I thought, I will never get tired of hearing him call me that. And then he learned taiko drumming at school, and he started practicing at home. Mom, 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 mommy, mom, mom, mommy, 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 mom, 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 mommy, mom, mom. First, mom came to see another one of my shows. The stage manager, the house manager, passed me a note at intermission. Beth, I'm in the audience. That was my son who cried and had to be taken out of the theater. Meet me in the lobby after the show. How was I going to meet her when I was in full makeup with another show to do within an hour? I quickly wrote a reply, meet me down by the women's dressing rooms, handed it to the house manager, who returned, not with a note, but with first mom herself. She cut right to the chase. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and a few weeks ago, I was talking to the surgeon who was explaining the procedure and what I ought to expect. And I took her hand and looked into her eyes and said, I am feeling no warmth or compassion from you. And she said, that's not my job. So I said, then you're not touching me. And I went to the front desk and I asked for the name of another female surgeon, and I'm having my breast removed tomorrow and I'm scared. We stood there holding each other as the costume rack slid by with characters in various states of undress, shedding sweaty garments before the second round of entertainment. I stayed and talked to her as long as I could, and I wished her well, and then I said I'd like to check in with her when she felt up to receiving calls. Just call, she said, and she was off.
Can I get in with you and Daddy?
I wasn't used to being interrupted in the middle of the night. I wasn't used to being awakened in the wee hours of the morning.
Bethy, guess what? The clock says 5, 2 dots, a 1, and a 3. And what does that spell?
5:13 in the morning, honey.
I'm the clock watcher.
You sure are. I wasn't used to being asked, what's for dinner? I usually went out to eat, and I did things. with friends. And now there was this little space invader. With his father, he was a completely different person. He was more independent, more his own boy. But with me, he was possessive and needy. Don't leave. You make me feel safe. If you go, I'll die. I can't survive without the Bethy. And these sentiments were augmented by the boy's grandmother, who upon our first meeting said, "You're not going to abandon this little boy, are you?" He would call out from his bedroom, "Mom, could you come in here so that you can enjoy me?" The boy needs to hug the mom so that he can be comforted. The boy was mommy hungry. He wanted to nurse, even though he was well past the weaning stage. He pulled on the skin of my neck, my earlobes, my elbows, any loose skin he could find for comfort. And the veins on my hands, he would push them up and down, up and down, up and down, until I would go, "Stop!" Do you think that the moon pulls on the ocean with gravity, yes or no? He was exercising his new knowledge from school. Yes. And can you think of anything more romantic than being pulled on by the moon? Yes. Being pulled on by your mom is more romantic. He wanted to be carried everywhere. So I did, because I knew he was working through his loss, even though my back didn't. The boy learned how to write his name. And watching him claim various items in the house with it was like watching Patty Duke play Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker when she discovered the word water. He would climb onto a stool and then write his name over and over and over again on the eraser board. Then he'd erase all of that and start writing lists. I love my dad. I love my mom. I love my sister. I love my dog. He scratched his name into the bottom part of his metal bunk bed with a Swiss Army knife he got from his godmother. He wrote his name on the interior roof of his father's Saab with a permanent black Sharpie marker. And changing his sister's bed one day, I saw names in ink written between designs on the beautiful duvet cover I had bought for myself in Scotland. There, between each red rose, were all of our names in ink. Father, mother, sister, boy, dog. When I told a friend of mine this, she has 2 kids, she said children are a great lesson in detachment. We went to Boston for the father's college reunion, and the boy and I explored while the father attended a full day of activities. We went to the aquarium where we saw a live peepa toad. We had learned about peepa toads from the natural science series, Amazing Reptiles. Mom peepa gives birth to her babies through the pores on her back. The boy thought that my distaste for this was hilarious. We went to see a Cirque du Soleil movie, and we enjoyed a beautiful lunch together. And on our way back to meet the father, I saw a shop that I wanted to go into. We'd spent the whole day doing things the boy wanted to do. Surely I could just take a few minutes to do one little thing that interested me. Oh, honey. Sit here. I deposited him on a low table where he was dwarfed by fabric floral napkins. I'll just be a minute. Well, I was more than a minute. I was so many minutes, in fact, that it put him off shopping for many years after that. But the next day, we were riding through Cambridge, and I said, "Oh, that looks like a cute little shop." "Well, prepare your tears," he said, "because we're not going in there." The father's hand is lightly resting on one of the boy's comfort zones. We are both asleep. The boy crawls in with us and, finding his desired spot occupied, says, "Hey, Daddy, you're messing up my whole program." "Mom, Croy read the most disgusting word he has ever read today." "Oh my, what is it?" "Fellatio." "Well, where did he happen upon that word?" "Mom, he was just paging through the dictionary and his finger just fell on it." "Well, do you know what that means?" "Yes, it's when you put your mouth on someone else's winky." "And Mom, who would do that? You'd have to be insane to do that." It's bath time, and I am waiting, towel in hand, for the boy to get out of the tub so that I can towel him off and get him to bed. But he's still happily playing in the tub. "Hey, Mom, you know what? My penis has 3 modes. Look, alien, flying squirrel." "Okay, honey, come on, let's get out of the tub." "And the throne." Heading to day camp and about to get on the bus, he describes our upcoming reunion as if it is a scene from some romantic movie. "When I get off the bus today, you will be standing there, and I will run and leap into your arms, and you will catch me." And he did. And it was sweet. And it hurt. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Minneapolis mattress match. It's a big day for our 2 contenders." The boy and I often played all-star wrestling using the mattress as our ring. "In this corner, weighing 42 pounds, please welcome lightweight champion, Blizzard Boy." And in this corner, weighing an indeterminate amount of weight, please welcome the returning champion, Pajama Mom. Ding, ding, ding. There's the bell. Pajama Mom and Blizzard Boy go to it. There was nothing, there were never any tears, and it was nothing too rough, but it was vigorous. The boy soon learned how to announce the games by himself. "In this corner, weighing 42 pounds, please welcome Striped Shirt." "And in this corner, weighing an undeterminable amount of weight, please welcome Back Pain." Every child has a nemesis, and the boy's was named Braden. For a while, we heard about him every day. "Braden says, Braden says, Braden says," frightening him at Halloween. "Braden says that when I go to bed tonight, witches are going to come and get me," ruining the family traditions. "Braden says there is no Santa. Is that true?" It's true. There is no jolly man who comes down the chimney to fill your stocking. Daddy and I do that. But Santa is one of the spirits of Christmas, and that is real. Braden soon became my nemesis. Braden says, and I just knew what was going to come next. That I can't be your mommy because Daddy and I aren't married? Well, you know what I think a mommy is? I think a mommy is somebody who reads to you at bedtime and helps you make your Valentines for school and loves you and changes your sheets when they get wet, buys you Spider-Man underwear, and lets you chain her to the gazebo. I try not to compare my kid to other people's kids, but every now and then an alarm goes off and I try and squelch it. It was October and Halloween was 2 days hence when I ran into the father of one of the boys' good buddies. Hey, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. School? Blah, 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 blah. Weather? Blah, 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 blah. And then I asked him what his son was going to be for Halloween. His son was a very good student, so you can imagine the intensity of my feelings when I heard him say, he is going as atonement. Atonement? My God, the kid's a genius! My son is going as an unnamed Twins player for the 3rd year in a row. Atonement? What does that even look like? A big Band-Aid? No, it's bound to be more intellectual and esoteric than that. It's probably a loincloth with trouble dolls glued to it, and a map with areas of unrest that need to be reconciled. And then I heard him say, a donut. He is going as a donut. A donut. Atonement. Well, my relief was substantial. The boy and I were heading up the dairy aisle at the grocery store when a wizened little lady stopped him and said, "You must be Swedish with all of that blonde hair." And he looked at me, "Am I Sweden?" And I nodded yes, saving the news that he wasn't the entire country for another time. So he nodded to the woman and she said, "I thought so." And she toddled off in the other direction, her biscuits in her hand. Well, after that encounter, the boy was fascinated and interested in anything Sweden. He requested lefse in his school lunch. Now we know on a technicality that this is a Norwegian staple, but as it is of Scandinavia, the referees are staying out of it. He went to Swedish camp and learned how to play a Swedish game called kub, and he has been known, when faced with problematic broccoli or green bean challenges, to say, "I wish I was in Sweden. They have good food there." I told him about December 13th, Santa Lucia Day, named for an Italian saint whose name means light in Latin, and how the eldest girl in a Swedish family gets to wear a crown of candles on her head, and she wakens the entire family with a tray of goodies and coffee very early in the morning, which represents the light returning to the whole world. Well, he immediately wanted to know what Swedish boys got to do for Santa Lucia Day. Well, I said depending on their age, they were either tomten, little gnomes who tiptoe about the farm and the house looking in on animals and the children, or they were star boys, who were acolytes of a sort to Lucia. Well, he decided that he would like to be a star boy the following year, but on December 13th of this year, could I serve him pizza rolls in bed on a tray? Well, the following year arrived, and because a costume had been requested, I, like any conscientious mommy, made him one. He wanted to try on his Starboy outfit before the actual day, so the father and I requested a photo session in front of the Christmas tree. "I want to see what I look like first," And he ran upstairs, got on a stool to peer at himself in the mirror. Silence. I waited for the Swedish squeal of delight and wonder. And I waited. I'm still waiting.
I totally look like a girl.
Honey, I called up encouragingly both to him and my edgy holiday self.
You look wonderful. I look like a girl. No, you don't.
So could you come down now so that Daddy and I can get some pictures of you in front of the tree? When a mommy makes an outfit, a mommy wants documentation. Down the stairs he climbed.
I totally look like a girl. I totally look like a girl. I totally, okay, honey. Stand there. Can you hold this candle and light it?
Oh, honey, you look so nice.
Don't say I look nice, Mom. That embarrasses me.
You look awful?
Yeah, I like that better.
Okay, could you turn more towards Daddy, honey? Ah, Bud, click, you look great, click.
Dad,
No, I meant your looking up looked great, not that you looked great. I know that we are doing it, that thing that parents do with a child and a camera that I myself have scowled at when I've witnessed it in others. We're trying to manufacture a moment that isn't there. I'm a stylist at a photo shoot, and the product is our child. Our child is Angel, bearer of goodwill to all. A true innocente dressed in stars who makes everybody stop, think, and re-examine life as they know it. Of course he doesn't have to be that. It's been done. But I can't stop myself. Honey, could you look at the candle as if, what's the word I'm searching for? Could you look at the candle as if it's a prayer? Could you look at it with a little more awe? He holds the candle and then he looks at it as if he is in total shock. And that's it, it's over. We all start laughing. And that's just the encouragement he needs to do us one better, and one better than that, and one better than that. He begins to mug, finger to chin, head tilted in an overly thoughtful manner, and then one of complete idiocy.
Mom, it's 5 o'clock. Santa Lucia Day.
I open my eyes, and there he stands in the full angelic ensemble. Little gown with stars, goofy pointed hat, little gold belt, peering at me expectantly. Okay, honey, let's go downstairs and get ready. We prepare a tray for Papa with coffee, and a Krispy Kreme donut stands in for the Lucia bun and peppercorn. And because the eldest daughter is still away at college, I give the candle to Starboy himself to carry up the stairs, the same candle he posed with the night before in front of the tree. He leads the way, and I follow with a tray of goodies, singing, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia. Well, look at this. The father props himself up in bed against his pillows to welcome the 5 a.m. returning of the light ceremony. The remaining hair on his head aloft in a playful salute to Theodore Geisel. Unable to help myself, I have to take a picture of adorable them. Click. We took a look at our pictures that we took in front of the tree.
Mom, I don't like that picture.
I look embarrassed. Honey, you asked for all of this. You wanted me to make you a Starboy outfit. You wanted to do the celebration at home. Well, why did you ask for all of this if you really didn't want to do it?
Yeah, but Mom, he said. That's when I thought I
I was the one who was going to be served breakfast in bed. We want everyone to experience the beauty of our children as we do, and they can't. Nobody knows them like we do. Nobody lives with them like we do. We want to create magic for children, and the magic's already there in the sweetness and the scowls that we witness in fleeting moments that happen when no one else is looking. I'm upstairs, straightening, something I'm very famous for, especially with the father. I sighed. It's something that I do a lot, and it doesn't mean a thing. It's just a habit. But the boy took it for something more serious, and he ran to the foot of the stairs with concern in his voice. "What is it, Mom? Hot flash?" The father is often on fire over politics, and the boy is no different from any other child in that he absorbs the atmosphere he breathes at home. One evening I accompanied him on Halloween to look at all of the other kids in their cool costumes and to see all of the decorations and the occasional recorded screeches and ghostly wails. And we came to a house that had an enormous political campaign sign in the front yard, about the size of a twin mattress, with the candidate's name in bold blue letters and accented by the other two requisite colors, red and white. The boy stopped short when he saw the sign and started pulling on me to get away. "I want to go. I want to go. I'm scared." "Honey," I said, silently cursing the father, "just because they vote a certain way doesn't mean they're bad people." No, I don't want to. Okay, you don't have to go there. It's all right. That evening, after the boy was in bed, I told the father that due to all of his political ranting, our son was afraid to even approach the house in question. And wasn't that a caution to us? Shouldn't he curtail his strong opinions for the benefit of the boy? "No," he said. "He should be afraid." The boy was invited on a sleepover at a friend's house. And the next day we reciprocated by inviting that child and another child over for an all-day Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. After which, they went outside in the mid-December chill to play baseball. When they came in, we had cocoa and apples for them, and the boy by that evening was as crispy as those apples. One of the moms brought pizza for everyone, and the boy was a tad cheeky at the dinner table. And while the adults visited, the kids wrestled in the family room, and I asked them to stop, thinking it was going to lead to someplace unfortunate. And so they did for a while, but they started up again. And sure enough, a lamp fell over, a bulb blew out, and I blew up. Enough! I sent the boy upstairs for his bath. He was horribly upset that he had to miss the final Yu-Gi-Oh duel with his two friends. Yu-Gi-Oh is a Japanese card game whose predecessor is a game called Pokemon, if you've heard of that. And the cards have different characters on them with powers that can eclipse or overcome another character. And that's about the extent of my knowledge on the subject. But kids really love it, hence the boy's upset at being removed from the activity. We talked about how the lamp was an accident, but the disrespect to adults a caution. "I missed out, and I can't have that time back. Well, nobody better take a bath in my water, because it's full of tears." Bye-o, my baby, bye-o, bye-o, my baby. amazed at first Mom's courage. She never seemed daunted by her diagnosis or her ailment. "It's God-driven," she said. "I'm going to write a book called Cancer Cured Me because that's what's happening here. And I'm going to do a dance piece about my mom and how she tried to heal herself by dancing in front of the full moon." I hear the front door open and I bolt up in bed, awake. Shoot, it must be after 7 o'clock. Time for him to go to school.
I'm just getting the paper, Mom.
9 years old, and he's going for the sports section like a retired Floridian. Next to me in bed, his dad just seems like a tired Floridian. No sign of consciousness. How can he not hear the child? 4 years ago, our boy wouldn't even get dressed unless I was standing or sitting right next to him. And now he prepares himself for each new day so independently, so quietly, that I'm often jarred awake with his last-minute pronouncement.
"I'll be leaving for school in 5 minutes, Mom."
Like a British schoolboy headed off for Eton.
"Mummy, if you should like to see me off, now's your chance."
I follow him around as he puts his books into his backpack. Did you eat? Did you remember your vitamin? Did you pack your lunch? Do you have your homework? Are you warm enough?
"Bye, Mom. Love you."
He sprints the half block to school, and I head back into the house. And something on the family room couch catches my eye. There, littered across a 4-fanny area, is the sports section. I come from a sports-loving family. well, some of us. The males all loved anything to do with a ball, a court, a field, or a green. And whenever they would talk about some well-known sports hero who evidently only someone just back from the Peace Corps wouldn't recognize, I would ask genuinely, "Who's that?" My brother would hit his head in disbelief. How can we even be from the same gene pool? I never liked watching televised sports, seeing how everybody was huddled around and intent upon it as if it was a primordial campfire. And I hated that noise. I hated everything about it. Guys shouting, often drinking at people who couldn't hear and wouldn't respond, arguments over sports minutia, and multiple modes of communication, not just a television blaring with constant channel changing, but a radio too, and the paper open, scattered in sections open to scores and statistics, and draped off the back of the couch like Salvador Dali's melting clock. And females fetching and delivering items to males who, as if hospital-bound, could not leave the bedside of a loved one near death. So when our boy caught baseball fever, no one was more surprised and taken aback than I. I mean, his father is a fine athlete and likes sports, but he often tapes the games to watch after hours when it's quiet and he can relax. And the new obsession could not have come from me. Oh no. I played elves with him in the woods. We made pipe cleaner fairies and we gathered acorns for their hats. I knit with him. I taught him how to needle felt, signed him up for Japanese and Spanish, read to him about the big friendly giant, the phantom toll booth, and old Mr. Toad. I plied him his imagination with all of my heart and soul. And now, Mom, would you read to me from this? Our sacred bedtime ritual involved a paperback book from the school library about Barry Bonds, an outfielder for the San Francisco Giants. Barry didn't give up, and neither did his team. He finished the season batting .301 with 114 runs batted in. Barry also hit 33 home runs, and he stole 52 bases. Barry was only the third player in all of his, oh, honey. I must really love you to read you this. I like to read to you about trolls and elves and fairies and rookies, he said. Continue, Mom, continue. He was begging to be taken to the Metrodome, so his dad took him to the season opener against the Yankees. And when they came home, the boy was crying. I am never playing for the Yankees. Never. I hate them. And I looked at the father who said, cost of 2 tickets, $40. Beverages and a bag of peanuts, $9.50. Souvenir batting helmet, $8. Drying his eyes after Joe Nathan gives up a home run to Gary Sheffield in the ninth, priceless. A new love had taken hold of my boy. I stared at him out the back kitchen window, and he was going through strange motions. He was talking to himself and twirling the bat around in circles. He was throwing the ball up, hitting it, and then running imaginary bases. He was hitting the bottom of his shoe with the end of his bat. He was spitting. He seduced me into playing catch with him, and he taught me all of the signals. You're out! And he would say, let's play mean ball now, Mom. That is when you throw the ball as hard as you can at your mom. And missing her glove, accidentally hit her in the calf, creating a sizable bruise that lingers for the rest of the week. He was parked in front of the television during the playoff series. Aw, man, bad call. He was safe.
May I have my lunch on a TV tray, Mom?
With lunch dispatched, he patted the spot next to him on the couch.
Come on and watch with me, Mama, will you?
I sat down next to him and we watched. He grabbed my arm in a sudden spate of enthusiasm.
Isn't this exciting, Mama?
I happened upon him again during the playoff game, but this time he had a broom in his hand.
Honey, what are you doing with that broom? We're gonna sweep them, Mom. We're gonna sweep them.
When I asked the boy what he would like to do for his 9th birthday, he said, "For my party, Mom, I would like to invite everyone in our family to play baseball with me." So we invited everyone in our family to play a baseball game near the field near our house, and then to join us for birthday dinner afterward. We made a list of our shopping needs and we got all the ingredients. I even made a baseball cake with a green field and 9 little bat candles and little licorice swirls for bases. And almost everyone showed up for the big game. A few people came late, hoping to miss physical pain, and I can't say that I blame them. The boy and his friend Lilia were captains, and they chose teams. I picked Daddy, I picked Greg, and so on. And with the males exhausted, they turned their attention toward the female draftees. Me, the boy's godmother, my sisters, his aunts, cousin Emma. We were all chosen on the basis of familiarity and sentimentality and had nothing to do with our skill level. Our skill level having been largely untested since high school. But then, so was that of the males. Why were they all picked first? And then, 2 of our females opted to leave the field and watch from a bench. And my sisters decided to be cheerleaders. I had brought pom-poms, thinking that some might default once we reached the diamond and reality set in. But what my sisters lacked for in courage, they more than made up for with vigilant sideline enthusiasm.
That's right! Hey! Don't take a pitch like that! Hey, better, 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 better.
My turn at bat. Everyone moves in. My brother Wayne makes the pitch. I swing, and the runners on 2nd and 3rd come home, and I follow. A home run! The cheerleaders go crazy. Their pom-poms shake like a predator pounding through savanna grasses. And the boys, the birthday boys team won, which is as it should be. He wanted to keep playing, but by then the aunts were crying uncle. We slapped hands with the opposition, and then we posed together for a team photo. And we made our way home in singles and doubles, carrying our balls, bats, pom-poms, and dignity. Maybe next year we'll have t-shirts. I did experience physical pain for the entire following week, as a matter of fact, but I didn't miss any of the action. And pain is not such a surprising byproduct. Sometimes that happens when you make it all the way home. First Mom's mother had died of breast cancer when First Mom was 4 years old. It was a loss that haunted her, growing up without a mother. And it was a fear that she lived with, that her child would also grow up without a mother. I am going to help women learn that they don't have to put up with this bullshit from the established healthcare system. It had been a while since I had heard from First Mom, and I was wondering how she was doing. So I dialed her number. The father answered, and they had just returned from a doctor's appointment. Something didn't seem right. He handed her the phone, telling her who it was. "Hi, honey. It's in my brain. I'm off to a healing, but I need you to come over today and sit with me. Could you come over around 11 o'clock? She had this uncanny way of asking for what she needed without any hesitation. I didn't even really know her that well. Sure. Okay, just walk in. I'll be here. I hung up the phone and got on my bike, and I pedaled around the lake near my house as fast as I could to help alleviate this sad news. And then I biked over to her house, and I sat with her. She was propped up in a hospital bed with an oxygen tank and mask near her. Her physical appearance had drastically altered. Her hair was patchy and her eyes were searching. We took a slow walk together, and she caught sight of herself in the mirror. God, I look like a concentration camp survivor. I settled her back into bed. And she asked me to hold her hand. I want to stay so badly for my boy, but I'm a free spirit. It's not right for me to be tied down. Do you think I'll see my mom if I go? Yes. What do you think she'll say? It's wonderful to see you. I rubbed her hands and her feet, and we talked. She told me that she found my energy calming. I have to make it past 9 tonight. This is the day my mom died. I'm afraid I won't wake up. I want to ask for a miracle. We both sit in the silence of her desire for a miracle. And then she says, I always wanted a mom. I sat with her until the father came up the path to the back door with his satchel slung over his arm. He sat down next to her. How's it going today? I want to ask for a miracle. Well, you know my philosophy on that. If you have to ask for it, you think you don't already have it. You are the miracle. I feel like I'm intruding on their privacy, yet at the same time, I feel privileged to witness it. It gives me hope. This man has helped his wife through her cancer, her surgery, her chemo, her radiation, along with the concurrent stress of child rearing and breadwinning. He asked me if he could add my name to the list of those who would sit with her, and I said, of course. I sat with her again. She was listless, and we were alone. She had sent the boy over to his godmother's because she didn't want the boy to see her like this. She howled from time to time because nothing was passing in or out of her body, and it was painful. When the father got home, he asked if I would hold her while he gave her a sponge bath and changed her sheets. Then he called hospice and gave them her vital signs. Honey, they said that we should go to the hospital because your signs are too low. Would you like that? Do you want to go to the hospital? Or would you rather stay here? I would feel a whole lot better if you would tell me what you want. Do you want to go? Okay. Okay, you want to go to the hospital? Okay. I want to take her down to the lake before we go. Would you like that, honey? Do you want to go down to the lake? Okay. Her sister is due here any minute. Could you wait for her until we get back? front steps, and I waited. And pretty soon it seemed like everything was happening at once. Her sister arrived, so did some friends. The father and first mom came back from the lake, and the wheelchair was in motion, and everyone was getting into cars with doors slamming, and soon everybody was off to the hospital, and I was left alone. I went back into the house, made sure all the doors were locked, and then I biked home. First mom died the next day, September 26th, 10 days after the boy's 4th birthday. He was the same age first mom was when her mother died. Fifth grade, the last year of elementary school. I'm walking down the hall and parents are greeting me with acknowledgments and congratulations. Partly due to my work in the theater, which took place in the evenings when PTA meetings and other planning sessions occurred, and partly due to my own human imperfection, I often felt like I was playing catch up with other parents if I missed an event or heard about it after the fact. The boy had won the Good Citizenship Award, and I hadn't been there to see it. I felt terrible. And then I didn't know where my head was at. Where was his father's head? Was that assembly today? Why didn't I remember it? And then I didn't learn about track and field day until the boy came home and breezily showed me some ribbons. He had no problem with the fact that I wasn't there. I did. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry I missed seeing you. Were any of the other mothers there? Yes, Mom, he said. Thousands of them. Every mom was there except you. About 6 months after the boy's mother died, I was in this really sweet show about loss. I wrote a note to the father. Would he like to attend? I thought it might be healing. He came to the show with his daughter, and they stayed around afterward to say hello. The next day, he called me because he wanted help in figuring out how to produce a dance piece in honor of first mom's mother, something she always wanted. And so we exchanged some emails about content and logistics, and then slowly, very slowly, we began to spend some time together. He called me one evening and asked if he could read me something. It was a children's story called How Old Mr. Toad Learned to Sing. Pretend that you open your door and you see a baby laying there and you say, oh my goodness, it's a beautiful baby. Say that. The boy is laying flat outside our bedroom door, his face scrunched up, giggling and giddy with this new game. I open the door and then I close the door and then reopen it. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful baby. He opens one eye. Then say it's a miracle. Say that part. It's a miracle. And so it is. The boy's mother had asked for a miracle, and by golly, if we both didn't get one. Hey, boy.
Hey, Mom. What's for dinner?